Hello, friends. We're back to share with you about obviously what happened last week in our Sunday school class and then what we're going to be doing this Sunday. I'm just grateful that many of you were there. We were able to hear Aubrey answer some questions regarding the importance of counseling and what's the difference between Christian counseling and non-Christian counseling. And again, just for you to get to know her and meet her for a little bit. And this week, though, we're going to get back into our study here in chapter 4, Journeying Through the Wall, or as it talks about in the chapter, The Dark Night of the Soul. And I just thought maybe you, Julie, and Chet, what would you like to say about the Dark Night of the Soul?
Yeah. Well, it certainly happens, and I didn't get that in church or Sunday school growing up. I just never had any teaching on that. And I guess I knew that the Psalms had laments, and that I knew. So you're going to hit a rough patch, but not any real long rough patch. And then I know graduating from Goshen, marrying my wife, I'd done a stint with homelessness in Atlanta and tons of growth and learning. And I just assumed going off to mission for a few years in Jamaica would just be that deeper learning and growing and a deeper connection with God and a real strength. Oh, it was not. It was, we were in the inner city and nothing, I was given a very dead end assignment. I think anyone would agree. And my directors felt a sense that it was kind of like egg in the face if they, or whatever that expression is, if they took me out of that assignment because they had set it up and just stay there for 3 years. And it was just, so I cried out to God, began praying, and I wasn't hearing anything back. And, you know, when you do hit these times in your life where the normal spiritual disciplines you do, Bible study, a group of men, you know, and they're supposed to feed you, right? But what happens if nothing is happening and you're praying and you just know you feel it's not getting beyond the ceiling, and God's quiet and he's silent and you're stuck. And that happened for months and months, and which dragged into a couple years. But part of what happens there, a great part of what happens is we use the cliche. There's a lot of truth in it. We love the giver and not the gifts he gives. And God does really lead us. Jesus was baptized and he was taken into the wilderness for 40 days by the Holy Spirit and was tempted. And yeah, God does lead us into dry times, and he's doing a deeper thing in those dry times that we cannot see, that I could not see. I wanted to bail in my marriage. I did. I wanted to get out of my marriage. I wanted to get out. I questioned my faith. I did, and all that. And yet God was preparing me for the future, for what, toughening me up in many ways, and really dealing with my pride, which he's still dealing with. And you know, just had a lot of deeper work to do that I just couldn't see till later. End this and fast forward it till experienced a lot of racism in that excitement, as just being white and walking out in the street, all the cat calls and all the response, and like people can't see Chet, they always see this white American walking, and Lord, why do I have to put up with this every day? Later, oh my goodness, I had no idea that God would use that experience in Washington, D.C. So with my African American and African brothers and sisters, when they spoke of going through being judged because of their skin color, we could cry together, and I could look across the table and say, you know what, I've been there too. And they said, you've been there too? And God used that to lead people into the kingdom and to know Jesus Christ personally. Not a ton, but enough that I knew, okay, Lord, you're redeeming those real dry 2 years that I just so badly wanted to get out of. That was just like, God, you're unfair. God, you're not kind. God, you're not gracious, you know. And yeah, it happens in your life, and it happens in different ways. My story is different than yours, but it does happen. And God, yeah. I don't know what you want to do with that, but yeah.
It reminds me of several places in the Bible where it talks about God's discipline, and so often we associate, I'm going through a hard time, it's because I've done something wrong, I'm being punished. We forget that there's the other side of discipline too, of the training for a marathon, training, you know, to be on a sports team. And so a lot of that we can chalk up to, I'm not necessarily being punished, I'm just being prepared. And so, you know, he loves us, and so he disciplines us. He puts us through things that are going to help refine us. And man, it's painful, it's not pretty, and sometimes it can last for a really long time, but there is purpose in it, and that is the hope. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Thank you both for sharing. There's a chapter 1, I think, of James, where he talks about consider it pure joy when you go through the suffering and the trials, because it does provide us with growth and maturity and help us to become more of what Jesus wants us to be. I wish we didn't have to suffer. I wish all we had to do was read our Bibles and pray and have conversations
You and me both.
with each other. But there is something that happens when we're going through that dark time. So, hey, come and join us this Sunday, and we talk about the dark time and how God can use it to mold us and shape us into His image. So thanks again, and we look forward to seeing you on Sunday. God bless you.
See you then.